introduce you to Brad Medford, CEO of Imperium Technologies. Brad's career has been focused on observing problems, identifying solutions, and bringing products to market for other corporations. That changed in 2021. He founded Imperium Technologies to bring a 21st century green energy solution to a $500 billion business, steam. Major industries from medical and food to oil and gas and electricity rely on steam distribution daily. However, 20% of the energy produced is wasted because of energy solutions on error-prone and cost-ineffective. The Imperium Technology solution intelligently addresses the root causes of the problem while reducing greenhouse gases and cutting operation expenses by 66%. So today, Brad will tell us all about the problem and his solution.
All right. Thank you, Lori. It's great to be here with you tonight. You might be surprised to know that 37% of all the fossil fuels used in the world today are used to produce steam. Amazing. What's even more amazing is that 20% of that steam is wasted every year because of a device that hasn't seen any innovation for more than 40 years. It fails about a fifth of the time, and it's completely unmonitored and purely mechanical. To give you a sense of how much energy is being wasted, you could power 15 million homes with electricity for 1 year if you were to solve this problem. So where's all this steam being used? In fact, there's $500 billion worth of steam produced in the US alone. And all this steam is used anywhere you need large amounts of heat. And this can be in medical facilities, oil and gas production, electricity generation, plastic production. Anywhere you need large amounts of heat, they're going to use steam. But this also produces 7 billion metric tons of greenhouse gases. So what's the problem? What's going on here? Well, as the steam leaves a boiler, it's going to go out over a distribution system. And this distribution system of pipes can be several thousand feet, or it can be 5, 10 miles, or even longer. Some of that steam is going to cool and turn back into water. That water has to be removed. I'll explain a little bit later what happens if it's not, but just understand for now that water has to be removed. The way it's removed today is what's called a steam trap. A steam trap is very similar to that valve behind your toilet. In the presence of water, it raises up, the water is pushed out, and then it closes, trapping the steam in the pipes. The problem is, again, these things fail about a fifth of the time. But Imperium Technologies is not the only people who recognize this. The EPA, the US Department of Energy, the California Energy Commission, and lots of other government agencies have recognized that this is a real problem. But I think the US Department of Energy said it best when they said 20% of the steam leaving a central boiler plant is lost via leaking traps. Think for a minute if that was a water distribution system where you're losing 20% of your water. When that steam is being lost, it has to be replaced, which means you're burning more fuel to replace that steam that's now being lost. In fact, if you've ever been in a large metropolitan area and you see steam coming out of a manhole, that's probably a steam trap that's failed open. So this is why Imperium Technologies came up with IntelliTrap. We came up with, first of all, reliable water detection. We have no mechanical components. There's only one moving part in this entire device. And because there's no electricity at these things, because they're all mechanical, it's self-powered. We're actually using the steam, the heat, to provide the electrical power. So it's not going to be batteries or power needed to keep hold of these things. It's built to industry standards and sizes. So you can pull out the old steam traps, stick IntelliTrap, and it's going to work. But once you get this done, you also have the ability to monitor it. And for the first time, they're going to have plant energy efficiency data. It's something they don't have today. So SteamView, a software subscription service, is going to monitor not only all the steam traps, but the entire distribution system as well. And yes, patents have been filed on this. In fact, we have been approved in a fast track by the US government because it's green technology. The patents have been filed, they're in the review as we speak. So why would an operator do this? The greenhouse gas reduction is important, but why would an operator who's looking at this purely from an economic standpoint want to do this? Well, the good thing is, IntelliTrap will cost no more than these steam traps that they're buying today. Again, they're replacing about 20% of their steam traps anyway today. But we're going to go in and say, look, you've got these steam traps that are not reliable. Buy this, it's the same cost. You don't have to go up and get a new capital budget approved. You could just, instead of buying the old technology, buy the new technology. So this is the only green technology that I'm aware of that has such a major impact, doesn't require a capital expense. This is going to come out of their operational expense. Operational savings is roughly 66%. Believe it or not, they actually go around with stethoscopes today, and they put that on a steam trap, and they listen for the tick, tick, tick. Instead, they're going to be able to sit back and be able to see all of their steam traps in operation every 15 minutes. Today, the best of operations inspect them once a quarter. In reality, speak to operators that say, yeah, if we get to them twice a year or even once a year, we feel like we're doing pretty good. But the most important thing that they're excited about is the increased reliability. You talk about a semiconductor manufacturing plant that needs that distilled water coming out of a steam distribution system. If they have to shut that down because of a steam failure system, it's going to cost them literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So do the operators care? Yeah. We conducted a survey with 17 operators, from very small people to very large people. And 100%, if you guys get this working, we want to do it. The primary reason was the greenhouse gas reduction. In fact, 78% of them said we want to be part of the trial. Cost, willingness to pay, the current steam traps are $400. The average price that they said they were willing to pay was $1,200 for this. So how big of a market are we talking about? It's a $4.1 billion market according to market research for the total addressable market globally. Within the United States, it's $1.1 billion. This is why Imperium is very confident that we can reach $190 million of our service addressable market in year 6. So how do we make money? Well, there's really 3 revenue streams. The first one is the sale of IntelliTrap itself. The second is the recurring revenue of SteamView, the trap monitoring system. And then there'll be professional services, not to help them install steam traps. They know how to do that. But how do they tie this into their higher level monitoring systems? The financial projections, a couple of important things to note about this is, first of all, we know that nobody's going to replace all of these at once. We know that people are going to install this at 5%, 10%, 30% over time. That's what you're looking at the model. The other thing that you may notice about this is that pretty quickly that recurring revenue becomes a major source of revenue for the company. The competitive space, this is a great place to be. There is nobody who's producing an electromechanical steam trap today. Every single one is mechanical. We'll be the first to market with this. We're convinced our patents will allow us to do that. Now, there are external steam trap monitoring systems out there today. The market is clear that they want to be able to monitor these things. But we looked at this and said, I don't want to monitor a broken technology, a technology that fails 1/5 of the time. We're going to solve the fundamental problem. And by the way, we can't get you the monitoring. The way I look at it is, I don't want somebody to tell me about my problem. I want somebody to fix my problem and then to tell me how well it's working. And that's what we're doing. The team is a great team to be part of. Gordon Judd has been in the steam industry for more than 30 years. In fact, he's at a conference today up in Dallas. He wanted to be here, but he's part of a group is talking about this very issue. Myself, I've been part of AT&T Labs, Cisco, Ericsson. I've worked in IoT projects. I know what it takes to see a problem, come up with a solution, and then see it out to market. In fact, that's how I describe our entire team in front of me. Is we have all been in this place before. We see a problem, come up with a solution, and we move to a successful market launch. Where are we today? We've completed our patent file. We have our qualitative survey. We have the manufacturing design completed. Right now, we are in a convertible debt. We have a $4.5 million cap, a 20% discount, at 6% interest rate. We've raised $375,000 to date. We have two due diligence documents that are available to you. One is from Springbok Ventures, the other is with the Southwest Angel Network, Swan, out of Austin. The other thing that's important about this is there's going to be 2 equity offerings, and then we're going to be self-sufficient. The current model shows that when we raise a total of $10 million, we'll be self-sustained. So this is not going to be an investment that continues to get diluted as time goes on. I could go into the timeline and use of funds, but we are currently in the process of getting the trial started next month. Multi-path approach get a lot of questions on how we're gonna market this, but we have really 5 ways we're gonna do this. Charlie Davis, who's on part of our team, he understands exactly what it takes to get this out. What does our exit strategy look like? Right now, there's about 12 manufacturers of these steam traps today. They all have not done anything again with this for more than 30, 40 years. We believe that once they see IntelliTrap out there in steam, they're gonna recognize, hey, we haven't done any investment in this space. The fastest way to market is for us to purchase Imperium Technologies and fold them into our company. I know I've thrown a lot at you, but talking really fast. There's probably lots of questions, so let me just end here and take your questions. Yes?
Whose idea was this?
This was a situation where the other co-founder, Gordon, called me up and he told me about this problem they were having in their steam system. And as he was telling me about it, I recognized, boy, we can do this electronically. Why are we still doing this mechanically? And so we got together, we put together a proof of concept. Rob Neville, who has done a multiple entrepreneur, has rung the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. We pitched it to him. He said, "You guys got to do this." So that's why we started. It was a real
design, I guess, is my question.
I'm sorry.
Whose design?
It was mine. I did the electronic design. Gordon did the mechanical design.
What, if I can ask, what kind of materials, and then are you guys going to do your own manufacturing or contract?
We're going to contract that out. Yeah. There's a carbide steel that is used in these things that has a long history of and that's a good question. We talked about the types of materials. They typically last 5 years today, if you're lucky. They may even last. We expect we can get 14 to 15 years out of this.
Corrosion being the main issue?
No, it's actually all how mechanical, some sort of mechanical failure. These things are highly complex. They have lots of metals that respond to different temperatures and water. They're just too complex. We have one very simple water detection system and one solenoid that opens, so really only one moving part.
What's the typical size of this unit?
It's about this big.
It's a small unit.
It's a small unit, yeah. And a typical plant will have anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand of these. So they're replacing these things, and they have to inspect them as well. So the idea that they're going to no longer have to go out and inspect these things, that's a real.
So the boilers creates the steam, and then the steam flows through these devices, basically?
Well, the steam will come through a pipe, say
Right.
6 to 12 inches, and these will sit at the bottom of an elbow where the water will collect, and then it flows down into the steam trap, and then it detects the water and pushes it out.
How long has it been tested?
How long has it been tested? We have tested this for about 6 months in various designs and things like that, so we're very confident. I would say at this point we are perfecting some of the software and some of the algorithms that we're using and things like that, so yeah, we're confident about it. Yes?
What are most of the expenses this year and like next year going to?
Yeah. Okay, most of the expenses with this current round are going to go to expanding the trial. So we have a small trial starting next month. What we want to do is we want to get this out to a larger number of places, refine the software, refine the manufacturing process, and see exactly how does this work over a long period of time? How does this work in a way that the operators need to see? So we're confident in the engineering. What we need to get a better understanding of is how do the end users use it? What type of data do they want to see in the monitoring system? Because remember, they have no monitoring system today. When you talk to these people about monitoring steam traps, they've never done it. So this is something that we need to get. Yeah.
Do you have a manufacturer selected of who's going to make it?
Yes, we do. Yes.
And a location?
We have a location. Yeah, we have. In fact, we have these. Next week, we'll be receiving the first units for the trial from the manufacturer. So we actually kind of jumped ahead a little bit. We got a little more funding than we were expecting. And we went ahead to the manufacturer and said, let's get this going with you so you can learn all the things you need to do, and we can work with you and start working out those
Are they
manufacturers.
located in the Rio Grande Valley?
No, they are not. Now, I will tell you that the pressure, there's two parts of this. There's a pressure vessel, and there's the electronic controller. The pressure vessel we haven't we have one manufacturer, But boy, we're open to new options there. I mean, it's not a hard manufacturing thing to do. So I think we could probably get a better price somewhere else is what I'm sensing at this point.
Sorry, did you mention what the price of this product is versus the traditional one?
Yeah, that's a great question, yeah. The current price that they're paying today is around $400 to $450 a unit. We are going to initially price ours at the same price. So when they want to install this, they don't have to go back and ask for more capital or more operation expense. So we're going to sell our devices for essentially the same price that they're buying it today.
And so it seems like too good to be true, I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you.
No.
Because you're giving something for the same price with a
Yeah.
2-3 times longer and 20% efficient.
Yeah.
So what is the stumbling?
Yeah, Charlie, our marketing, has always beaten me up on this. And it's one of these things that is probably TBD. So we want to get market share out there. We want to get this out there. We want people, because it's a kind of a closed community. A lot of people talk. So if we can get a lot of these things out here early, and we get a lot of people talking about it, then we're going to start raising the prices. But what's really important is for people to get these things installed, get the word out there, let people start seeing this in the real world and have an operator say, hey, this is great, and then we will start raising the price. Yes?
So what are your margins at the current market price, 400 and change? And then the second part, which is a little bit different question, you're asking for 800,000 on the convertible
Yes.
round? How much, if anything, have you and your partners put in to date?
Yeah, both Gordon and I, we put in over $100,000 of money that I can show. There's a lot more than that.
Okay.
So, but yeah, our margins at the $450 range is probably in the 20% range. But we think we can get that up. Speaking to the question about the manufacturing, and we think that there's substantial cost savings we can get once we get to scale. Manufacturing of this type is really a numbers game. The more you manufacture, the less expensive it gets.
What region would you manufacture? What region? Like Asia?
No, we're going to manufacture in the U.S. And there's lots of reasons for that. I think this last year has shown us why that's important, but there's other reasons as well. Yes?
With this product, 2 questions. First, are there relatively few different sizes or models in this industry? In other words, is this a standard product that everyone applies more or less, or are there 50 different variations?
Yeah, I've been told I'm out of time here. There are actually 24 different models, and they have to choose which one they're going to do. Some of them art, some of them science. Well, ours will work in all, so they're not going to have to choose that anymore.
Second part, what is your core competency? What is your competitive advantage that keeps Emerson, a big guy like Emerson, from coming in and reverse engineering or whatever and producing a knockoff?
Yeah, we do have our patent. We're convinced our patents. When I worked for AT&T Labs, they taught us extensively how to do this. Confident in our patent. Now, somebody could get around one patent, one person, the second maybe, the third, the fourth are not going to get around it. So at some point, somebody's going to say the only option for it is to buy it. I'm sorry. There's one last question. I'm getting beat up here because I'm going over time. So.
Wondered about the subscription. That's an additional cost that they're going to incur.
Yes.
How does that affect
Their willingness
the
to pay?
price? Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Is
today.
that per unit or?
Yeah. It's going to be on a per unit basis. And today they send people out with these unionized workers with a stethoscope to climb in these things and stick it on there and listen for it once a quarter. They'll get an update of this status of not only the steam trap, but their entire steam distribution system every 15 minutes. That type of expense has never been an issue with any of the customers we've spoken to.
One last question.
Yeah.
Did you mention how much longer your product lasts versus the typical steam trap?
Yeah, we expect that ours will last up to 14, 15 years with one maintenance cycle of just simply replacing the solenoid, and then you'll be done.
You mentioned pilot program or a pilot project or demo, how large of a project is that? And what's the time frame of it?
Okay, the one we're starting this month, yeah, or in March, yeah, that's going to be, at 5 different companies all around the country. And, yeah, so it's gonna be 5 from a small manufacturer to a semiconductor manufacturer, a construction product manufacturer, a educational institution. So, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty broad.
Are they paying you to do the pilot, or are y'all just putting your product in and?
No, once they heard about it, they said, we want to be part of this. We have more people wanting to be part of this than we have devices.
So we, okay.
You've already produced some of these
Yes.
that you're gonna have in place.
Yeah, they're being shipped out to us this week, so.
Time.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
So much.